Right.
Because if we had better judges in terms of protecting families from this sort of plague or scourge, then we wouldn't be getting those kinds of technical decisions that then have to work their way right back through the court system.
That's right.
We would still have our decency laws in place. We would have far less sexual crimes and violent assaults on women.
And children.
And children,
Right.
spurred on by this.
In Prince George's, the open booth law passed where they should have no more doors in the adult bookstores. And that is...
On the peep show booths.
Yes. And other counties in the area do not have that. Only this county did. And so that legislation did pass, and we're hoping that it's going to be taken care of.
Well, if we think we have problems now, wait till the internet.
Well,
we do have problems on the internet. That's a terrible thing, especially in regard to children. And there are
more and more people to get on the internet.
Able to access it, yes, right.
It's because of the internet that a lot of our public is just becoming aware how
terrible.
really
right.
bad some of this
It's
material
because
is.
Congress...
Most people have no idea how really bad this is.
We have had parents that are so concerned. We had a gentleman that helped in one of the auctions that we had last time, and he said, I'm helping because my teenage son was on the computer, and then I realized that he had gotten into pornography. He said, I took my computer and brought it to my office because I cannot afford to monitor this. Okay. And so I think parents are really alarmed, and they're really concerned, and they don't know what to do. It's coming from every angle.
Let's talk about what to do. Okay? Let's spend the rest of our program talking about what the average person can do to fight this scourge. It's one thing to educate people. It's an entirely different thing to get them involved, to get them motivated, to provide them. You know, we're all, I think I heard this somewhere in the last month or so, we're all victims of the tyranny of urgency. We've always got something else to do.
It kind of bothers me that the average decent person with a family has to go out and buy a chip to protect their family. It should be the other way around. The person that really wants access to this should go get the chip so that they could have access and let normal things happen.
I mean, why should the person that has a child and have to go through all of that instead of the other way around? Whoever wants to...
It's a matter of money. It's, I mean, listen, what is this, a $10 billion business?
It's a $10 billion a year
And it's controlled
business.
By what, 5 or 6 families out in the Midwest or someplace?
It's 80% controlled by organized crime. It's the 3rd largest money maker for organized crime. And so you can see that the whole industry is driven by greed. They don't care about the First Amendment. That's the least of their concerns. They're hiding behind it.
If you follow the logic behind this moral decline, it really does come down to money.
Sure.
We've got to cut off their money because there's no money in modesty, it's in pornography. There's no money in chastity, the money is in contraception. There's no money in pro-life, the money is in abortion.
Yeah,
so we've got to somehow fight this moral decline, because that's really, once you get people desensitized, and it's my understanding that you get people desensitized through the pornography industry, you move them right up to the lie of contraception, that they can have their cake and eat it too, that if it feels good you can do it and avoid the consequences of responsibility. And then when that fails, you go right to abortion. And then there's another industry nobody ever wants to talk about, which victims of pornography definitely depend on. Another industry that has exploded in the last 40 years, the mental health industry, who has to put all these heads back together, or try to put all these spirits and souls back together again. So we want to know, A, how people can help the Maryland Coalition Against Pornography. Your phone number is
301 439 8475.
8475. And we want people to call that number.
Yeah.
And your dues are what, $10 a year?
$10 a year. It's very little.
if you can't afford $10
and we
a
depend
year.
on contributions to keep us going. You know,
Okay.
that's the only way we're funded. I wanted to mention too that that phone number is also our addiction helpline number. We do have an outreach to men who are addicted to pornography. And if they will call and request it, we send them literature and information, lists of counselors and so forth. At one time we did have a support group, but unfortunately that didn't last, but we're hoping to get another support group going. So this is one way that we feel that we definitely are helping some of the victims.
Okay. Well, there are two things I think that our listeners can do. Number one, they can join MCAP, the Maryland Coalition Against Pornography, and they can do that by calling 301-439-8475 and telling the person at the end of the phone, I want to be a member, and get the information and send your $10 in. I think the second thing they could do, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but they could volunteer, let's say, an hour a month to help fight this scourge. Now, you know, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but
we need volunteers.
Those volunteers can make a big difference. I mean, if 1,000 people were to volunteer, that's 1,000 hours a month.
Right,
We could get a lot done.
Eva has some other ideas too.
All kinds of things could happen.
Of course, our organization has been 10 years, and each year we do something different.
Aren't you having a rally?
We are
Yes.
having a
Yeah, lead
rally.
into
This
that.
year, as our 10th anniversary, we're having a decency rally in Beltsville. It will be October the 26th, and it'll be at 2:30 in the afternoon at Beltsville Elementary School.
Beltsville, now why Beltsville Elementary?
Well, we are having an interfaith service at 1:30 at St. Joseph's Church, Catholic
Okay.
Church, and Beltsville Elementary is just walking distance, so people can go to the service and
then
go on
go,
at 2:30 to
right.
the rally, which would be a couple of hours, 2:30 to 4:30. And it should be, our theme is standing for families, protecting our children.
That's why it's at a school, family,
And
child-oriented.
we also, at that time, we will have music, and certainly we want to recognize the legislators that have helped with legislation, because that's one of the big things that our organization does.
We also want to recognize the ones who haven't.
Right. Well, we
We want to
do.
be a positive, we want to have a positive
Right,
note.
but there are, especially Mr. Maloney that lives in Beltsville. He has introduced legislation in the county council twice affecting it. He's exceptionally supportive of our issue, and we really are very, very grateful to him, because it had not happened before.
Our entire
Okay.
county council is quite supportive of this whole
And
thing.
things are moving along in this county, and we're very, very hopeful. But people at home have to do their bit. You know, it's very, very important. One, that we recognize that something is being done. And at this rally, which will be October the 26th, we would like to have that school packed. And of course the church as well. But it is so, so important. If you really are concerned about decency, this is something you can do. You can come with your families and join together with us in celebration, and also in hope that we can make a difference. And we can, because we also have to let the communities and media, etc., know that people are concerned. And I
Yeah.
hear they're concerned, so you know, you do need to do something about it. It says, why is pornography so rampant in this country? And I guess basically victims make poor opponents. And the other is that good people do nothing. So if we as good people, decent people, complain about pornography to the stores. Now, it's true that we can write, when legislation is being introduced, back the legislators, write, call, get involved. It's very, very important. You have to be informed, you have to get involved, you also have to support people that are doing legislation for that. And so how do you go about it? Now, we can help you with our organization, because there's a quarterly newsletter that goes, and you get this with membership.